we're going to pose our next question to Divya and Robert, which is really just sharing for us and this group a little bit about how your culture or beliefs or those of the clients that you work with kind of influence your work. So Robert, why don't we start with you since you're unmuted, and then we'll hop over to Divya after that.
Okay, so you said, how does the culture kind of shape the work that I do? Is that...
Yeah, your culture or beliefs or your clients' culture or beliefs kind of influence your work, exactly.
Well, I have a real big diverse clientele, so I think just the haircut in general, I think I've learned at a young age that when you make people look good, they feel good, and kind of makes a big difference in their self-esteem and their personality and their self-confidence and things like that. So as far as culture, I think that's one of the reasons I cut inside the county jails, because of the way that the system is set up. I mean, there are a lot of people of color that are locked up, and I don't only do it for people of color, but I do it for everybody. But I know that we are in there at a high number, and the people in jail, some of them are forgotten about, and some of them are they're in dark places. And I can attest to that because I've been in a dark place before without being in jail when I needed my 2 kidney transplants. So going in there trying to help somebody feel just a glimmer of hope, I think that makes a big difference. And to show that you care, that there's somebody out there that does care, that does get it, that does know that it's supposed to be really rehabilitation inside there, but for what it's worth, if you haven't been in there, you can't really see that rehabilitation happening. So I take it upon myself to go inside these county jails to talk to juveniles and to adults to let them know that this is not their last resting spot, and that their life can be turned around. And cutting hair has brought me into a lot of different places. And I think that talking to youth and talking to incarcerated adults is one of the biggest things, besides cutting inside schools and talking to kids in schools and different festivals and stuff like that. But as far as the culture, I think that the hair culture is real big now, especially with social media. Everybody is into their looks, and I'm glad that I play a part of that, and I'm glad I can help out whoever needs that, inside or out.
Appearance, like we're talking about, Robert, we've been talking about how, as doctors, how we appear professionally in spaces really matters. Like how I dress for clinic is different than how I dress in places. And I didn't appreciate how much appearance matters when you're in jail and you have to go in front of a judge. So how a lot of times people will spend their last dollar to get that haircut, because that really matters how they're going to be, what happens when they go in front of a judge. So I think like the work that you do is really important in that aspect as well.
Thank you. I think the closest thing that we all could feel about how an inmate could possibly feel is when we went through COVID, when nobody could get their hair done. How are you feeling? Think about that. How are you looking? How is your self-esteem? How is your self-confidence? And to wait 2 to 3 months to not get your hair done, that's a long time for a lot of people. And there's people that are locked up that they don't even get their hair done that often. So to be in there, to be able to go in there once a month to every correctional facility to help out, that's a big change, I think, in people's lives.
That's such a great point. I think that's a really specific thing that probably all of us can resonate with. Some aspect of our appearance or our usual beauty and appearance routine was disrupted during the pandemic, and at the same time we were still being expected to show up on camera, literally, right? And being on Zooms and having people see us even if it wasn't in person. And I remember there being conversations about people using filters to make themselves look better, or whether folks are putting on makeup or not in the middle of a pandemic, particularly women, but folks of all genders really caring about how they're appearing in the midst of the world falling apart in a lot of ways. And so really just thinking about, some of the most sort of dire and serious situations, appearance really still having a big impact and a big role. Thank you for sharing that and your stories. You wear several different hats that I think are really just fascinating perspectives.
Thank you.